What's popping, y'all? Let's get right into it because I have recorded this video 4 times and I'm sick of interruptions, and I'm pretty sure I know what I want to talk about now. Okay, this episode, before I even get into it, is brought to you by Delectable Butter Balm Hand Cream Triple Citrus Blend. It is literally the bombest smelling lotion ever, and shout out to Ipsy for the amazing product. Yeah, it smells good. I call it like a smell good balm because as soon as I put it on, smell good balm, because as soon as I put it on, it just smells good and the whole room smells good. So I'm gonna try and leave that in the shot like that. Is that what I want to do? Can y'all see that? That's perfect. That'll work. Okay, so what the hell's on the bottle? Oh, lotion. I got a lotion on the bottle. Okay, anyway, here we go. Love and Hip Hop New York, Season 10, The Return of Chrissy, a.k.a. Chrissy Returns, a.k.a. Chrissy Lampkin The Remix, a.k.a. Chrissy Lampkin Part 2, a.k.a. You Can't Fuck with Chrissy Lampkin. Okay, so I'm super excited because I really admire Chrissy Lampkin. I always have. I've always really enjoyed her presence on television. I think that she's an incredibly fierce woman. I think that she is tenacious. I think that she's strong. I love that every time she speaks, it sounds like both of her feet are firmly planted on the ground, 10 toes down like a mug. I love how she speaks. I love the respect that she demands. I love the energy that she exudes. I love that every time she talks to somebody, she makes them uncomfortable. Visibly, they look uncomfortable. I don't even care if whenever I meet her, she makes me uncomfortable. I genuinely don't care. I love Chrissy Lampkin. Chrissy is the epitome of building the life that you want, regardless of what anybody has to say. And people have been dogging Chrissy out for literally a decade now, and it could not faze her not one bit because she's still on her move. She's still on her hustle, and I just love it. I think that she's just a strong person. I just really enjoy seeing her grow, and I've enjoyed seeing her evolve through reality television. I'm grateful for having to be able to seen all of that from her, because she's really inspirational, and I don't care who disagrees. I really just love Chrissy Lampkin. Boom. So now that we got that established, you know where I'm coming from, you know what storylines I'm paying attention to. I'm not about to befuddle y'all with nothing extra. All I want to talk about Love and Hip Hop is Chrissy, and then all of the storylines that are attached to her. I will touch on some other storylines just because I know that y'all want to hear them, and some of these opinions I feel like I should be allowed to say. I mean, not about other people, but I mean like in the grand scheme of creating content that is related to other things, other content, I would love to get some of these things off of my chest because yeah, it's important. And not to mention, I wrote down notes, so y'all should be grateful. So let's just get right into it. Chrissy versus Yandy, okay? Chrissy and Yandy used to be cool. Yandy was Jim Jones' manager, and as y'all know, Jim Jones and Chrissy, that's her dude, that's her man. Anybody got something about say about Jim Jones, gonna get these hands, okay? Go ahead, Chrissy, go off for your man. Chrissy felt like Yandy was overstepping her boundaries because she started to make suggestions to Jim about how he should spend his money on Chrissy. And the way that Yandy presented to everyone else is, I'm his manager. I'm making sure all his financial affairs are in order, and making sure that he's not doing something that could jeopardize a future plan for himself, which is absolutely managerial. While she's not his accountant, still that's what a manager does, make sure that all of his affairs are in order and in line. And that makes sense. But if you saw season 2, like I saw season 2, that's not what it looked like when it got presented to Chrissy in the club that one night. Because anytime that it got presented to Chrissy was more of like Chrissy was just some kind of sack chasing ass, like she just made it seem like she was just some gold digger that didn't deserve the things that Jim wanted to do for her. And the way that it got presented from Yandy is that's how it looked. Like, just that one scene where Yandy's kind of faded and she's drinking. She's like, so where's that ring? Like, it's like, that's none of you don't need to be talking to me like that. You are my man's manager. So you go do only business affairs and related to that. Don't be over here asking me what my man is buying me and where my ring at and all that stuff. And that's what Chrissy said. Chrissy was like, hold on. You don't even know me like that to be joking with me like that. Like, you don't know me like that. We not close like that. Hold on. Like, we cool. But in the scene, Chrissy calls her out. Like, hold on. Who the fuck is you to be talking to me like that? Another reason why I love Chrissy. But that is where the rocky foundation of Yandy and Chrissy's relationship, where it got the most like complicated, because at the end of that, Chrissy felt like the series was putting her in compromising situations that could jeopardize her freedom because she doesn't hold her tongue and she's not gonna hold her hands. So she was just kind of like, I'm done. I'm walking away. I don't think I'm coming back for season 3. She didn't even want to do the reunion. She did her own separate recap thing. And I think she did it with Mona Scott. I'm not even sure, but she was just like, nope, I don't even know if I'm coming back for season 3. And she didn't. Okay, so that's that. Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Okay, how do I feel about that? I'm gonna be honest with you. I do feel like Yandy was wrong. I feel like, yes, you are a manager and their affairs need to be managed, but if you know Chrissy the way that you say that you knew Chrissy, why would you even joke with Chrissy about her money and her man like that? Like, that's the part that confuses me, is that you're saying, okay, I was just doing it because I'm his manager and I'm taking care of his affairs and I'm making sure that everything, he said that he wanted to do all this with his future, and how he gonna do this with his future if he's spending money on these kinds of things, and I was just making sure that he stayed in line. Okay, that sounds all good and gravy, but in that scene, it was like you was cracking jokes about some other shit, and that's where the lines got blurred, and I could understand why Chrissy would feel the way that she felt. And in that instance, I don't know if I'm biased. Y'all can call me out. Call me out in the comments if I'm biased because I love Chrissy and I'm looking at this the wrong way. Y'all can tell me. I can hold myself accountable. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I just genuinely felt like Yandy was like a little bit overstepping her boundaries. And if you know Chrissy the way that you knew her, why would you play with the two things that she never plays with? Out of all the things that you can play with in Chrissy's life, the two things that Chrissy never plays with is her money and her man. So why would you even make jokes like that, knowing daggone well how Chrissy get down? So that's that. So in episode 2, Jonathan and Kimbella made up with Chrissy bringing them together. Now, Kimbella is funny to me, okay? My dad used to tell me, never be friends with somebody you beat up because you don't know when they gonna try and flip and get revenge on you. So I just find Kimbella going back to Chrissy to be a little bit interesting. I can understand wanting the growth, but it's a little interesting, and I can't tell if it's because she's a little bit vulnerable right now with Joelle's being in prison, or if she's gullible, or what it is. And she doesn't have any reason to be necessarily be afraid of Chrissy per se, because Chrissy has the personality type, when she owns up to some shit, she's not likely to redo it unless she's taken to that level. And when she beat up Kimbella because she felt like Kimbella disrespected Emily B by bringing up the fact that Kimbella and Fab used to date when Emily was going through what she was going through. And so I can understand Chrissy did a little bit go over the line, but I can understand her being like, you disrespected my friend and we trying to support her right now, so you need your ass beat. I get that, and whatever. But anyway, so they back cool. They brought Jonathan around, and Jonathan's like, well, me and Kimbella fell off because of woo, everything, about that one moment where Kimbella, I guess, was dogging Yandy out over some other kind of stuff. And he's like, well, if we're both friends, I would protect you and defend you the same way I defended Yandy. I like that. I like that about Jonathan. It's some consistency. I would defend you the same way that I defended Yandy. I like that. I like that about him, but it felt weird. And then later in that same episode, it made sense why it felt weird. It was because it wasn't true. When you fast forward in that episode and they sitting around and Sin is there and Jonathan and Yandy and Kimbella, and they're all sitting at that little table, and Sin brings up that Chrissy's house goes into foreclosure, and Yandy makes that statement like, damn, that's around the same time that I stopped managing. That was a messy ass statement. It's coincidental that happens to be in the same time frame, but it was a messy ass statement to say something like that. Now, Kimbella called it out. She's like, that's messy. That's messy. It is. That was a little messy. It was. But then watch what Jonathan does. Jonathan, as soon as Kimbella walked up to the table, is being shady. He's being shady to her. He made a comment. He said, oh, you wearing human hair and not synthetic. That's a shady fucking comment. Why would you say that about somebody you just reconciled with? Why would you even say that about somebody as a joke? Why would you even say that about somebody in general unless you have an air of not truly rocking with them like that? So that's number one, that felt weird to me. Number two, when Kimbella went off and he's like, you overreacting, that seemed weird to me, because I'm like, didn't you just say you would defend your friends? So maybe you and Chrissy aren't friends like you made it seem at the table before. But then also, when Kimbella walks off, he said, I gave you a pass with the hair. I gave you a pass with the human hair, and I gave you a pass with the synthetic. So that means that you really don't rock with her the way you say you rock with her. Just say it. Reality TV, sometimes this is the very reason I stopped watching this shit, because I'm like, y'all make being two-faced look cute. Y'all make being two-faced seem acceptable. Y'all make being two-faced seem like that's just some hot shit to do, and that's not really true, because then you run up on somebody like Chrissy, and Chrissy's gonna call your bluff and everybody around you bluff. Like, how did you say that? And how did all y'all let him say that? And then how you cool with him saying that? And you laughing, and how come I found, you know what I mean? Chrissy's gonna call everybody's bluff. So why are you even playing like that? Like, I just think it's strange. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, real quick. I knew that I didn't want to talk about Joe Budden and I didn't want to talk about Sin Santana, and maybe I'll save this for another video. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to make another video right now about narcissists. And some narcissistic behavior and some gaslighting that's popping right now in the streets. So I love y'all so much. Chrissy Lampkin, I love you so much, Chrissy Lampkin. I don't care what nobody says. I do not care. Chrissy Lampkin is one of my favorite reality TV stars. Actually, she's the only reality TV star I truly love. Like, she just seems amazing to me. So Chrissy Lampkin, let's kill 'em season 10. Let's do this, bitch. Let's do it.